Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is just me announcing that this video is going to be a theory video, one of those ones with Geek Rambles. Be sure to subscribe to them and subscribe to me if you're new. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers around here, as you all know, so any support will be greatly appreciated on that front. But with that said, enjoy the video. Going to go over some of the Series 14 theories that some of you guys have sent our ways. And how do you feel on, I guess, Series 14? Shooty, Millie, how are you feeling about all that in brief overall? Obviously, we know less about that, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I also think it makes it almost more exciting in a way.
Yeah, it's almost like the less you know, the more you want, right?
Yeah.
But I've not felt like that either. I've been okay with not knowing things about the previous era. Say what you like about Chibnall, that's totally fine. But the one thing that I will always stand by, and it's a hill I'll die on, is that guy knows how to not leak a spoiler.
Yeah.
And knows how to keep things under wraps, which is something that I came to really enjoy because I didn't want to know what was happening. With this, I'm totally different. I want to know everything. Yeah. Give me anything you want and everything. That's
and Russell's very good at catering to that, isn't he? He's found a very good balance of like tells you stuff, but he also doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a good example is when in Doctor Who magazine he sort of has his little columns on it now, and he gives us like he does this little segment where it's called like the letter from the showrunner or something like that, and he gives us like words from a particular episode. Like I think the latest one was like Liverpool, Legions, and something else. And it's just like there's just like little tiny little thing, but it's just enough to go, oh, I wonder what that means and how does that play into like a narrative. He's just very good at giving us some stuff to go on, I guess.
Oh yeah, he knows how to get people talking. But yeah, he's the epitome of giving someone an inch but not allowing them to take a mile.
Yeah, no, that's a very good way of putting it. But yeah, so Series 14 is currently, I guess, filming as we're recording this, and I have no doubt that this recording will probably age instantly as well. We might be proven wrong or like something else will come out as we're doing it. But yeah, there's been a couple of interesting things from filming. The first major one, and like what most of the theories will go around, is this company that's been spotted called Albion. Or I say company, it looks more like a sort of political sort of affiliation or organization or something like that, which is very interesting and very different, which I'm excited by. But yeah, so we're going to be going over your theories as to what Albion could be or what that could relate to, as well as just, I guess, the Slug as well. Because some of you want to talk about the Slug, which I have very little to say other than like it looks like a space alien slug. It's very Doctor Who and it's very Russell. Whether those two things tie it together at all, I have no idea. Oscar Watt says, I think it's going to be the Minister of War, as we've heard about them, but have never seen them, and they're meant to be in the future of the Doctor. So I'm going to be completely honest. I've seen a couple of people talk about this. I had to look up what this was. No word of a lie, I had to look up what this was. Apparently, I think it's in the Zygon two-parter. The Doctor or someone makes reference to a certain event being post-Saxon, but like pre-Minister of War. And so basically the Minister of War is something in the UK's future. Well, I guess what people are speculating is this new character and this new organization is something to do with that. The next Saxon equivalent, but a different thing, I guess. But I don't know much about the Minister of War other than that, really. It's one of those things, it could well be that, and they could well tie it in. It seems like a very vague reference, but then it's the sort of thing that I can see Russell maybe doing something with. Although, again, it's a weird thing with filming in particular. I feel like so many fans are like, oh, it ties into this, or it ties into this. I don't know, it could just be a completely separate thing.
I'm so glad you said you had to Google it. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But I did see that tweet.
Yeah.
So I did see that, and I had to Google it myself because I had no idea where that was from.
No, I didn't either.
Before the Flood?
No, Before the Flood, you're right. I thought it was the Zygon one for some reason. You're right. I knew it was a Capaldi one, but yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right. You're right. It's.
I thought you were right.
I think you're right. I know it's a Capaldi one anyway. I know it's one of those. Yeah,
it's Capaldi. I think we can safely say that we knew that. Honestly, this is probably the least I can speak on any of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know. But then again, Mummy on the Orient Express was just a throwaway thing, and look at what happened there. Never say never.
That's true. Remember in the Science and Library when they do Thinking Towers of Beryllium and they mention that and the crash of the Byzantium and all that. So maybe it will come up again. And I know that.
What about Jim the Fish?
Yeah, Jim the Fish. Jim the Fish. This is an interesting one, and I like it. So this is from Dr. Watt. Honestly, I'm really hoping for a companion to break bad. I think Ruby is going to get radicalized by Albion. She looks like the sweetest and most innocent companion we've had. Her becoming a villain would be shocking. Oh, I like that. Unironically, we haven't had a companion just turn into a full-on villain. We haven't had that. Russell is good at the emotional gut punch. The Donna memory wipe, Rose and the Doctor trapped in parallel universes, both moments people still cry at. If there's one companion who could do the turning to evil, if there's one person who could do that storyline, again, I feel like a broken record, but Russell I would trust to do that. And I think that would be such an interesting dynamic. Because they kind of did it a bit with Clara, didn't they? Remember in Series 8? They sort of have that bit where she's a bit like, because Danny, I think, dies. My memory's a bit hazy, but like Danny dies, and she's like, I'm going to burn this TARDIS, like, key. Tell me what, save him, damn it. And that's the closest we've gotten to that. And even then, it's kind of her trying to save someone. Or, at the very least, she maybe believes a certain political thing, and maybe the Doctor opens her mind to other things, or that could be interesting too. There's a lot of narrative potential in that. I also like the idea as well, because we mentioned earlier that Albion might be a future thing. Maybe Millie being from the slight distant future, still relatable enough for like the audience to be like, yeah, it's still a relatively modern Earth companion, but different, just a bit different, just to like break that 21st century girl from modern day Earth kind of trope that is kind of a thing, just a little bit different. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. A companion as the villain, I think, is a really cool concept.
I would absolutely love to see that. I think that would be so good. Like you say, it's never been done before. It would be a new thing. That theory is either going to age beautifully or
terribly. Yeah.
So, and I hope it's the former, because I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit. I'm not as sentimental as a lot of people, and I'd kind of want to see someone turn a bit dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to see that, and I kind of hope it does.
A really different challenge for the Doctor, because a lot of their challenges recently, and even in the RTD era, they're more wide and cosmic than that. They're more like, oh, my planet's gone, or in the case of Jodie's era, I'm this ancient alien from the past and all this, and Capaldi was like, am I a good man? They're more grand sort of concept. The idea of my best friend turns against me, that's more personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's more personal. It's almost more gut punching in a way of like this person that I love hates me or hates what I stand for. That's fascinating. I love that idea.
I love that, and hopefully we love it too. Yeah. So I'd love to see that. That's a good one.
Theory time. There's already somewhere called Albion in the universe, Albion Hospital. It appeared in the Slovene Empty Child 2 powers. Whoever that person is on the poster will be revealed to be a Slovene. Slovene would like to hold position of powers. And it seems the person on the poster is some kind of Elon Musk type. And that's a powerful position. Ooh. Yeah, because I guess he is younger as well. So maybe Elon Musk sort of almost Mark Zuckerberg techie type would be an interesting way to go about it. And a new form of politician in a way. That'd be interesting as well. And being a Slovene, again, that could work. I am a little bit wary, and I think you said this to me. I don't just want series 1 to 4 again. And while I understand, Doctor Who fans, they relate things to the past, I am kind of like, there's another one I've seen is that, this Albion guy, and I've seen a couple of people suggest this Albion or this William guy is the Master. And I'm like, please, no. Don't have the Master running for office again. Don't do that, because that would set a red flag in my head, like, oh, that is just Series 3. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I think Russell is smart enough not to do that. But I think it does worry me when people are like, oh, make it the Master. Like, no, I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you do something different. Like what we said earlier with the companion being the villain thing. I think that's such a more interesting concept with more narrative potential than it's the Master. However, the idea of Albion being a widespread thing like that, like Torchwood in Series 2, you know how that sort of reoccurs?
Yeah.
That being a thing, and then some aliens being behind it. I do like that idea. I just don't know whether I want it to be the Slovene in specific because of the relation to the Series 1 episode and Boomtown and all that sort of stuff. But I like the idea of there being something more to that. That would be cool.
Yeah. I've seen this around, and I've seen a lot of people say they want it to be the Master. I don't want it to be an alien at all.
Yeah, I've seen some people say that.
Genuine Earth guy. the Albion thing could just be the biggest coincidence ever. But like you said, Russell's too smart for that.
Yeah.
And it might just be an Easter egg. It might just be one of those things for people like us who know that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I think there's more than meets the eye with that one. But I don't want any sort of alien. I don't want any of any kind to be involved in that. I want that to be a person.
One thing that I came up with, and I don't know whether anyone else said this, but I don't know where I saw it, but I love this idea, and I don't know whether it's in the theories that we got. If it was, apologies. But I love the idea because on one of the posters, it says Space Savior or something like that with a picture of that guy's face on it. So my theory is, and this is a wild one, but I think it's the sort of political commentary that Russell would do. What if this political party is advocating for stronger regulation when it comes to aliens in the UK or on Earth? Because Russell's era was very populated with aliens and it's all very connected. So it's not impossible for them to be like, to sort of do like an immigration allegory with that and be like, well, you know, the aliens have done some bad things, but so maybe we'll just not let any of them in. You know what I mean? I think there's ways...
UKIP, are we?
Yeah, basically Brexit, but in space. I could see Russell doing something like that. That's the sort of thing I could see him doing. If you've seen Years and Years, that's the sort of thing, I could see that. And I think that'd be fascinating as well.
I would never speak on politics on any sort of social
media. The only reason I brought it up is because it's like, it fits storyline wise, and it's the sort of thing I can see Russell doing.
Yeah, but in this instance, it would work. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we could all have a big old fight on Twitter about.
Yeah.
But it is
try and keep that out of the comments of this video, though. I don't want like.
Oh, God. But I could definitely see that happening, and I could definitely I'd be up for seeing that actually. Yeah. It's a good one.
Oh no, I've just seen someone put that idea in the comments. I'm not the only one who came up with that idea, but I do like ideas like that. The Slug is RTD trolling at filming locations. So this theory is that he's not actually in it, and it's just a troll. I mean, given that we've seen him 2 days in a row now, I'm going to imagine that it probably isn't. It'd be a very elaborate troll if it was. Although maybe he's like a small threat. You remember like the Hoiks in Love and Monsters? The thing that they're fighting in the beginning of Love and Monsters before.
Oh, the thing.
Yeah, that's just like the meat at the meat. Yeah, they got the weird meat and stuff. Yeah, maybe it's like that, where it's just sort of a minor threat that they're dealing with while bigger things are happening elsewhere or something. That could also be how they do it.
It could be. I'm just thinking, what is that though? And I understand it's a Slug, but I don't mean like, but what I was going to ask, and I know that not a lot of people could answer this, is more just, is that filming in that location, or is there like a set, because it could be like a bar, like the one that Captain Jack goes into at the end and meets Alonso. Yeah. It could be something as simple as that.
Yeah.
But that Slug doesn't look that frightening when I know that if I throw a bit of pickled onion at them, that they would
or salt, just it's ironic, really. The Slitheen go out by vinegar, and the slugs
go by salt.
Slugs go by salt.
That's too salty.
That's too. I was just thinking of the Sarah Jane bit where they're like trying to figure out what the Slitheen's weakness is. They're like, "Ooh, could it be bread, butter? I don't know. It's got maybe salt. It's." The acid. No, it's got to be the vinegar.
It's got to be vinegar.
Yeah. Here's another one. The new companions from the future, something we talked over, where aliens and humans are in fact working together on Earth, kind of like Saxon's pitch for the Tok'la thing. Ooh, I like that. Ooh,
I like that more.
Something is up, obviously. It's like parallel Earth, Cybermen episode mixed with the Saxon Master. The aliens are up to something, which is not good. Okay. I really like the idea of a coexisting society between aliens and humans, because it's a possibility that's always been sort of hinted at. I mean, I know that the Silurians aren't technically aliens because they inhabit Earth, but big theme with them often is sharing the planet with the ape, which almost sounds like the film title now I say it out loud.
Yeah,
but yeah, the idea of, aliens and humans coexist at this point in the future, that's interesting. And that would lend even more into like the political angle of it, of like, sort of real world allegories with like that whole thing as well. I like that a lot. And they probably do have the budget for that as well, maybe. If they do have a bigger budget.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that more than fighting it. because this hasn't been done before. I mean, like you said,
but maybe like the Albion is them fighting it, but they're like the sort of extreme end. So like currently society accepts it, but they could be like the actually no, you know, they're not good sort of thing. Or I did see them saying that the aliens were evil, which they could do, but I almost feel like it would be more in character for Russell to be like, actually being against them just because they're different is kind of silly. You know, I could see him going more against that, more on that line than the other. But them coexisting, I think, is a fascinating idea. And I guess also from a budgetary angle, if you wanted to do more Earth, that's a way of spicing it up a bit. Like, okay, it's Earth, but aliens also exist here now. Because
you know what? I'm down for this completely. Yeah. It's the not too distant future. Weirdly enough, me and my mum were having a conversation about that. Is that if aliens came here, would we accept them?
Yeah, I think that might be
one of those really deep ones.
Yeah. I think that might be exactly what they play on, though. They could definitely play on that, 100%.
Yeah, and I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I'd love to. It doesn't have to be an evil alien. Then we've got a dystopian planet. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah,
it can be one where.
I think well, like it reminds me of the way the Doctor's treated in Dalek Again, where he's just sort of treated as like an experiment to them.
Yeah,
and that
in the exhibit.
Could that, you know, like that's the thing. Maybe for the Doctor as well, seeing what aliens accepted might make him feel more accepted by Earth. Because it's been his home for thousands of years, but he sort of, you know, every time he meets someone new, there's that angle of, oh, you know, what the hell are you? What is this? Kind of, it's all crazy madness. And maybe for him, it might be nice to see aliens getting accepted, and he might maybe feel a bit more comfortable. Maybe that could be an arc for him. You know, he might not feel as much of an outsider, an unknowable force than previously. Maybe him seeing that humans could accept aliens would maybe make him love the planet even more. That'd be a really nice little arc. Something like that would be really nice. The only difficulty with that, as much as I love it, is the show does kind of go back to like a default status quo eventually. Although if it's a case where that's something that the future, kind of like, you know, in the first Russell era, where it's like the great and bountiful human empire exists sometime in the future. Maybe they could do that if it's not in present day. Like present day Earth is still present day Earth. There's not aliens amongst us yet, but in the future, maybe where Millie comes from, there might be. That might be something cool, because that way you can kind of still have your cake and eat it, where you can show what our society might be like if aliens were integrated, but you can also have your default, this is just Earth, this is just the McDonald's, sort of, you know what I mean? Like, normal, sort of down-to-earth thing. But yeah, that is fascinating, though. I do love that idea. That. Yeah, there's so many interesting ones.
Well done.
I love the idea of Ruby being a villain. I love the idea of aliens being integrated. I love the idea of a slug being a troll. Russell, I think that's fun too.
Great stuff that's come up here. I love it.
When the answer is elusive, never rule out the Daleks, which, I mean, true. Here's the thing.
Not right now.
I almost feel like they had the perfect opportunity to do that with the blooming defense drone Daleks. Remember that?
Yes, they could have done which I just that down. I actually quite like. I know. Come on then. I really liked that idea. I liked their design. I liked what they were. I loved that it was the risk of what could go wrong with that. And you're quite right. They had perfect opportunity with that. Oh,
and they didn't do it. They could have done like a whole thing with like police force and Daleks and police control and all that sort of stuff and government. And they just didn't do any of it. They were just like,
they didn't do any of it.
They just died.
I'm fuming.
Brought on some rage there, but it's like, I don't want it to be the Daleks personally. And again, it's almost as well like it would almost be treading too close to Victory's territory as well, of like, oh look, Britain's using the Daleks kind of thing.
Which I wish they'd done more as well.
I feel like this is just us venting the Dalek stories now. You had a good idea. Yeah, no, Daleks in World War II.
Come back for another video where we just shout at each other about
Daleks in World War II should have been more than what it was, in fairness. But yeah, I would rather it not be reliant on a past villain. In fact, one of my main hopes for Series 14 is that there's less returning, or at least if they do returning ones, like it's more obscure, like Toymaker or Beat the Meat, or like, you know, stuff that we haven't seen. You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a new Sutek story. I've said that a few times. The new Sutek story from Pyramids of Mars.
I don't know why. I thought you were going to say Candyman, and I thought, oh my god.
I still, you know what? There's ways you could do that would be fun. But yeah. The Sutekh story would be great. Yeah. Like a more cosmic threat that the Doctor just feels insignificant up against. Because I feel like, especially recently, to me, the Doctor's felt like the most powerful, important creature in the universe. And I almost feel like that needs to be knocked down a peg, you know? We need a villain to actually, for lack of a better term, you ain't shit, you know? And I think the Toymaker could almost be that, but I almost think I want more of that with Series 14, because I remember, I don't know whether you saw this, but he did a little interview thing when he was cast, or when Disney deal was announced, saying that one of the villains he'd like to go up against would be the Beast from Series 2. And I'm like, oh, that's the sort of villain I would like to see, a more grand, I am so much more than you kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind another Midnight, as much as I keep saying no nostalgia, but I don't mean obviously Midnight as it is, but another alien that you don't know what it is. You don't know.
Yeah.
You can't see them as well, because I think humans can be the scariest sometimes.
Yeah.
So something like that would be great. Obviously, we don't know who that is, but the Beast is a good idea. I'd love to see Shooty up against the Beast. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, Ducky Hoovy, that's adorable. I feel like perhaps we should expect some episodes without monsters. Okay, in the same vein as Torchwood Series 1, like if it's looking like we have a pure political thriller, why not finally bring back a pure historical too? So I guess what this means is more historicals, but more like, I guess, like the 60s ones, like the Romans, I guess, where it's just the history is the concept rather than aliens. I've been watching Torchwood fairly recently. I wouldn't say Series 1 necessarily is alien free. I don't know whether that's how I would describe.
No, I mean, I think I understand what they mean. I mean, like the first one, for example, we won't go into opener, that much, because that was taking over a human, wasn't it? So
that one that
we won't really talk about. Yeah. for obvious reasons. But I can see that, and I'd quite like that. I think that is a return to classic, to do things like that.
I would like some more historical.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. RTD's strength, in my opinion, his era strength was never really the historicals. I'm going to be honest. Like, not to say I dislike them. I mean, Unicorn and Wasp was pretty fun. Shakespeare Code's all right. I've never thought that highly of it.
I think it's quite an underrated one, though.
Oh, fair enough. And then Tooth and Claw's also all right.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's fair. But it's like, they're never like my go-to choices, really. Like,
no, me neither. Yeah.
So I almost feel like, whilst he obviously will do some, honestly, for me, the best historical to this date, and I know it's not technically a pure historical, it's about as close as we've got. In my opinion, best historical in the new series is Vincent the Doctor. To me, nothing has come close to that in terms of exploring that figure in history, doing it so sensitively and so wonderfully and so emotionally. Nothing has come close in terms of exploring history than that, in my opinion. Like, there's just nothing that's even come close. And I almost feel like it's not pointless trying, but it's almost like, I don't think you're going to top it. Or at least I can't see a way of like, you're going to top Vincent the Doctor. It's just, I can't find fault in that. You know, it's just perfect. Like,
it is perfect.
But at the same time, there might also, because one thing I did like, conceptually at least, about the Chibnall era, is that they did go a bit more out there with their historical stories. They were a bit more like, because a lot of Russell's was like the average kind of British history. So like Shakespeare, you do Charles Dickens, you do...
I quite like that one as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other ones. You do Agatha Christie, it's all very British history. Then obviously with Moffat, you got Vincent, which is, again, very sort of British focus. And then with like Chibnall, we had like the Punjab, and we had Rosa, and we had, I'm trying to think of the other ones.
They're the Witchfinders, but I suppose that is British still.
That is technically British, but like, yeah, we had a bit more variety on that front. So I'd like to see maybe that conceptually continue. I think a pure historical would be fun. It's just, I don't know whether Russell is... I guess he'd get other writers as well, but like, I think maybe it would depend on the writer there, because I feel like a pure historical could be seen to be quite dull. It really depends on the story and the writer and all that. But I'd be open to it, depending on who or what it was.
I think Moffat's probably your best bet, isn't he?
Well, at least that era, probably,
Yeah. Well, I just mean in the way that he's done, you know, like, oh God, what is it called now? I can't even remember. The World War II one in Series 1.
Empty Child, Dr. Johnson, yes.
Empty Child, he did that really well. And did really highlight war and, you know, how awful it was. And I understand the story, and I love it's one of my absolute favourites.
Hold on 1 second. It's just the one at my door. 1 second.
You don't like near here, so let's make this quick. Oh, so you got the ogre's message?
Tell us where Shrek is Theris.
Theris hasn't been here for a while. It's just me, the Leak King now.
The Leak King? What kind of name is that? Sounds like you with the bigs. What that sounds like?
Donkey Kong, get over here right now.
I do like Moffat's approach to historicals. Yeah, that was cool. Like the weird fairy tale stuff. But yeah, but I wouldn't mind seeing a historical again. I think more pure historicals, I suppose. I do like the idea of a human villain, but like I it's weird because I kind of got a bit sick of that in series 11, but I think maybe that's just because they didn't do that much interesting with it. Like,
no, and it was more just their team talking about it rather than actually seeing
whereas, like,
it.
there's a lot interesting. Like I keep thinking back to Years and Years, but like Vivian Rook, and I'm like that sort of vibe for like a villain would be fascinating.
Yeah, it would be really good.
But yeah, I think that wraps up the Series 14 talk. Unless there's anything else that you had like a wild theory you might throw out, any curveballs.
Not yet, but come back to me.
Oh yeah. But yeah, thank you all for watching this. Again, I don't know when this will come out, but thank you all for watching. Subscribe to Geek Rambles, link is in the description below. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.